Hey everybody, I'm Jake.
And I'm Alan.
Welcome to Nevada Trails. We're here thanks to the Pine Nut Mountain Trails Association and the Brewery Arts Center. Without their support, the show couldn't go on, huh?
Exactly, and here at Nevada Trails, we're about bringing outdoor recreational opportunities to the folks, the viewers, and also talking about safety and responsibility.
That's it. I mean, been here 22 years and I'm still finding stuff that I didn't know happened here and getting new tips. So this is all cool stuff. We're going to be talking with Bones from Bad Bones Motorcycles in Minden, Gardnerville area.
Awesome.
So some cool shock stuff and checking out a cool mountain bike video. So
awesome.
Should be good. This is Nevada Trails.
Ready, set, go!
Wake up back into my world again. Oh no, I'm nothing here without you now. Lights out, everything goes back again. I'm lost, I'm never getting out of the door. Open your heart, let me in. Open your eyes, help me see. Open your arms, I'm made of loving embrace. Don't let this go away.
All right, we're here to talk about some shock stuff with Bones from Bad Bones Motorsports in Gardnerville.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming on. Hopefully today we're going to address some questions and maybe reasons why people are going to upgrade shocks, whether it be ATVs, motorcycles, and four-wheel drive. So why don't you give us your thoughts? Is this something people really want to think about?
Well, you know, basically shocks, the stock shocks that come with a customer's vehicle are fine for the customer. Unless they're out there doing some performance riding or just want a better quality ride, usually stock will work for them. But obviously the number one reason is the suppleness of the ride to upgrade, the firmness of the ride. That all plays a part. Like I said, most people don't realize that until they actually change it. Once they do change it, they wonder why they didn't in the first place. There's lots of companies out there that allow us to change like that. One of them being Progressive. They offer a real nice quality shock.
Progressive rate? Are you
Progressive
talking about
rate,
the springs or the valving?
Yep, you can change the valving, you can change the compression, the rebound, there's all kinds of factors. For most people, just a basic upgrade, if they want a nicer ride, will work. The more competitive you are, we can actually fit the suspension on the bike to the rider's ability and weight.
And what they may be doing, I imagine you're going to want to change it if you're hitting like motocross, big huge jumps versus maybe desert racing.
Right, exactly. Obviously, the bigger the jump, the more of a rebound you'd want to compress for the jump. It just depends on what the customer wants. We can change it from a nice daily ride on a Sunday to an all-out aggressive ride out in the desert.
Because when you start pushing these shocks really hard and the shafts and the piston are cycling really fast, you're going to start getting like shock fade. Right?
You're going to get heat, which is going to lead to shock fade. The internal mechanics of the shock might not be set for that type of abuse. Therefore, you might want to upgrade, say for instance, the front shocks. You can really get in there and do some valving, change the viscosity of the oil, which is going to help with the overall performance of the shock. Number one, like in the commercials you see on TV, number one failure in shocks is going to be heat. Heat's a killer. Like I said, the more valving and the better the oil quality of the oil, the better it's going to perform. And that's another thing that people don't do is they'll change the oil in their engine, but they'll never
They'll
change.
never
their
do it in the
own
shock. I know I had dirt bikes for years, and I never did
thought
it.
of it.
So.
That gets you because that gets dirty too. Over time it gets dirty and
And it's
just-
going to break down, I would imagine, the
Right.
viscosity
From
of
the
it.
heat, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So here's an ATV shock, and this is a reservoir. They're referred to as remote reservoirs.
Correct.
Right? What's the purpose of that?
Purpose of that is your shock when it compresses, it needs a place. The oil that's in here needs a place to go, or the nitrogen or whatever you have in here. Without that, it's just going to be a giant pogo stick, if you will, and you're going to compress and boing, come right back. So you need a place to store all that energy, and this is where it's going to store. It also helps in dissipating the heat that's built up from it moving up and down a lot. You also have on here your settings, your compression rate. You can adjust the springs to give you a firmer ride or a softer ride. Your rebounds.
And on some springs, or some shocks, that this is like called a coilover, right? You can actually adjust the ride height with that as well, right?
You can get a little bit out of it, not a lot. This is basically going to be used more for the stiffness of the ride.
So if there's a heavier rider,
You can crank it down and it'll lift it up a little bit more. If you want to adjust the height setting on the shock, there's kits where it'll move the shock out or in to adjust the height on that. This is basically just used for the ride quality.
Okay. Now I know, like with this, the way it kind of works in my mind is the greater oil volume you have in there, the greater it can disperse the load, I guess, throughout all the oil.
The heat.
Now, this uses what, a nitrogen?
Yeah, there's
in
nitrogen
there?
that goes in there. You don't want to use air. A lot of people use air. Nitrogen's going to work better for the quality of the shock. A lot of these shocks nowadays are rebuildable, so you don't have. It's not a
So you
throwaway.
can replace the seals and actually change the valving?
Yep, you
Okay.
can change it all.
Now, what's the purpose of the nitrogen in there?
Oh, the nitrogen is just a better conductor for the suspension. You can use air, but air is not going to last as long. It's not going to have the quality. So it's
Does it
just
kind of act as a buffer in there?
yeah.
So
Basically,
it actually takes up a little space. So, very cool.
yeah.
And here, this is kind of more my forte. I don't mess with the whole ATVs things,
That's
you know.
pretty wild shock there.
You wreck too many times, it's like I keep my butt inside a roll cage, you know. So I just got these. So just as a comparison, here is a pretty high performance shock.
And this is leaning more towards stock, right?
That is way more towards stock. You can see the stroke is a lot shorter.
Right.
You know, it's just it's a basic shock. It's non-adjustable. It doesn't have the extra capacity like
Right.
we're talking about with the remote reservoir. And something kind of cool about this shock is besides having the remote reservoir and you can adjust the nitrogen, it's adjustable.
Remotely adjustable
Yeah,
in your
you
cab.
can do it either way. This
Yeah.
one I'm setting up so I can adjust it from inside the vehicle.
Right.
Wow.
Stock, it comes with a knob, has 9 positions, and as you change that, it changes the valving inside the shock. So, what I'm doing on this one is I'm adding this system here. It's kind of cool. It has its own little compressor, and then it has gauges so you can monitor and change the front and rear shocks as a pair. You know, you don't want to do it side to side, but what I really noticed is, like you had said, is you don't know what you have or until you upgrade from the old stuff, right? Mine used to, my rig, when I would load it up to go to the trail, like 3-day off-road adventure, right? You got gas in your ice chest and all your gear, and we'd be driving and go around a corner and the whole vehicle would start doing
Because
this.
of the weight loaded up. Yeah.
Because of the weight and not running sway bars.
Right.
And I had heard about these, and what's cool is you crank them up and it's almost like adding sway bars
Right.
to the vehicle.
Really takes
Really-
up a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like you had said, with the adjusting the springs, it's going to help you carry the load better. And it really made it a lot safer, because cranking those up, all of a sudden I could take a corner and it changes the the rebound, that's when it extends, right? So you're hanging a corner, and the body won't pull away from the suspension anymore.
Yeah.
So-
Well, and for a lot of people, this right here on a dirt bike, an ATV, or even a street vehicle, that'll work for them. You know, they don't have any problems with it. It goes. They
Yeah.
have fun. They're just out having a good time. But if you want to really enjoy the vehicle and get the full potential out of it, you upgrade the suspension. You know, and it's done fairly simple. Sometimes it's expensive, but it's usually fairly simple.
Do you guys ever have like a dual rate spring setup on bikes?
They do have them, yeah. A lot of what we do, say for instance on a street bike, is we can take the internal valves, replace them with an aftermarket valve, change the viscosity on the oil, the weight, and it'll be a whole new bike. It'll be a completely different bike.
So the valves, is that basically just kind of a metered orifice in there? Or?
Right. Yeah, it's basically like it allows so much oil to be displaced, you know, and it acts as a buffer, kind of like I guess I'm thinking of maybe like a heart valve that has a flap, you know, and it's going to just go a little bit.
At the end of this rod, isn't there kind of basically a piston that has the valves in it? And, the
And this
holes
is just going to be used just for this.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's not going to be anything else.
Right.
It's just going to be just to absorb. It does what it says. It's a shock absorber.
Cool.
That's all it is.
So,
Bones,
go ahead.
any new technology coming out that you've seen coming?
There's a lot. Some of the street bikes these days, you know, you can sit from the saddle and adjust everything. You can adjust the ride.
That's what I'm going for.
I mean, it's just now. Oh, okay, let's pump it up a little bit. You know, the Harleys, they come up. You have to physically adjust them, but you can.
Cool. So if somebody's interested in upgrading what they got or talking to you guys, where should they go?
Come down to see us at Bad Bones Motorsports, 1539 US Highway 395.
Cool.
You can visit us on the web at badbonesms.com.
Cool.
Or give us a call.
You guys, what's your phone number?
782-2110.
All right, man.
Cool.
Well, Bones, I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
and
guys, for having
coming
me.
in.
Bones.
Hopefully we cleared up any myths on the
Yeah,
shop.
or created
Or
some.
created some, yeah.
Right on. Thanks.
My pleasure, guys.
For those of you that are out there operating your ATVs or your motorcycles, if you should have some kind of mishap where you need our support and you have a GPS unit on hand, the UTM latitude, longitude coordinates you give are really a very valuable tool for us to be able to navigate to you as soon as possible. But again, relative location to a town or to a mountain or some geographic figure, any type of information that can be provided certainly helps us to enable us to get to your location expeditiously.
We are medical helicopter, so our mission is to go out and retrieve patients that is either a trauma victim or have any kind of medical condition where they're in the back country. So when we need to know from people that when we come out to is what type of an injury and how many victims might we have. If there's more than one victim, we can launch 1, 2, or 3, or even more helicopters if we need to. So it's important to know the type of injury, the amount of patient that we may have to pick up, so we have an idea when we get out there.
I'm frequently told when I see people on a casual basis that I'm not someone they would like to encounter in a professional manner. Nobody really wants to see us if we're going to be putting them in the helicopter and taking them to the hospital. A few tips to make sure that you're able to be safe when you go out and have fun on Nevada trails. Make sure that you always wear your protective clothing. It's surprising to me how many people I can pick up who didn't have something as simple as a helmet on. If you're dirt biking, make sure that you have your chest protector, the protective pants, your riding boots, your helmet. You're a lot less likely to encounter us if you have even just a minor fall if you have your protective gear on. Also, to be sure that you're safe, make sure that people know where you're going, where to find you, when you should come home, and make sure that you travel in a group. It's not a good idea to be doing dangerous activities by yourself. It's best to have a group of 3 people so that if something does happen, you can send someone for help and not be left alone injured.
All right, let's talk news.
The news. What's happening?
Well, first we got the Clear Creek Archery Range.
Okay.
Has its annual Hell and High Water 3D shoot. It's Sunday, March 16th. It's held at the Centennial Park Archery Range, located
And,
next to Eagle Valley Golf Course.
Okay. When's this going to happen here?
It's March 16th.
Okay.
And if they want any additional information, they can just call Jim or Carol at 883-0389.
Okay, very cool. And something else kind of happening here is there's a group called Friends of Silver Saddle Ranch. And for people who don't know, it's kind of out, well, I guess what you should call the Mexican Dam area. And it involves the mountain range on the east side of Carson City that goes down through Prison Hill area. I guess there's Carson City's proposing that that land be turned over from BLM to Carson City.
Which I like.
Which
give
is
it back to
okay,
Carson, right?
so long as people get involved in this,
For
right?
sure. Yes.
There's going to be some meetings happening.
Yeah, there's 2 public workshops apparently. One's in April 24th and one's May 8th.
And May 8th. So hopefully I think what they're trying to get is everybody who might be involved in using that area.
Right, because this is a
in the
high-use
future,
area for
right?
a whole bunch of folks.
Yep. So it's a 8,000-acre area, and it begins the Douglas County line and follows the Carson River corridor to Morgan Mill Road, which is next to all the BLM offices.
That's some pretty country out there.
That's some pretty cool country, but you know, when these kind of things happen is enough people don't get involved.
Right.
You know, it's like they'll sit back and watch, and then when the outcome isn't what they wanted, they may complain.
So basically, if you're using that area, you might as well get involved.
Or if you want to use that area, yeah.
There you
so,
go.
like we said, April 24th and May 8th is going to be these meetings, and you know, hopefully people can get involved and have input on the future plan.
Well, let's talk about the Blue Ribbon Coalition. I guess there's some kind of
another-
action alert.
Another land use kind of thing, huh?
Yeah, there's a land grab, Mineral County area, apparently.
I think it's out by Hawthorne, right?
Yeah. So if you're interested about that, you're in that area, that's a vested part of your area, talk to Public Lands Department Manager, Blue Ribbon Coalition. The number's 208-237-1008, extension 107. Then the
So-
person to contact is Rick Foster.
So once again, hopefully people can get involved and be part of the solution and be happy with the future, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man, cool.
In order to protect our riding opportunities, we've got to tread lightly. That means staying on roads, trails, and areas designated for ATVs. Also, go over, not around trail obstacles to avoid widening trails. And cross rivers slowly, and only at places where the trail crosses the stream. Join the millions of responsible riders who protect our privileges and our natural resources by treading lightly in the outdoors. Visit Tread Lightly at treadlightly.org.
Hi, my name's Jeremy. I'm with the University of Nevada's cycling team. This is a cycling team for the university students. Today we're here at Sky Tavern holding the Nevada State Championships for the cross-country and downhill racers. We host this race. We also travel all over California and Nevada to compete with the WCCC with mountain biking and road. We have categories A, B, and C. C mostly being beginners. With the road racing, we do road races, we do circuit races, time trials, everything that you would have in a normal road race. Mountain bike season, we also do Super Ds, downhills, short track, and cross-country races. With the road season, we have A, B, and C. We do the circuit races, we do the road races, A, B, and C categories. C categories usually only do the criteriums for about 30 minutes. A categories could go 45 to an hour. With the road races, as a beginner, it's usually only 20 miles. It's not too demanding. But with the A racers, they'll race up to 80 miles, just like they would at any USCF road race. With the cross-country mountain biking, once again, we got the A, Bs, and Cs. The A is usually averaging about 25 to 30 miles a race. With the Cs, as a beginner, you're only going to be looking about 7 to 8 miles for a race, so it's a good way to get in and get started and see how the racing works. With the downhill racing, there's usually 2 to 3 courses depending on the location. With the Expert Pro course, which would be the A category, which would be very challenging. But as a beginner, they also have a beginner's category and a beginner's course, which would mainly be fire road, lightly technical. So once again, all abilities and a great way to learn how to ride and become a better technical rider. If you'd like to contact the Nevada Cycling Team, you can email us at jeremy@interntech.com, or you can go to our website at www.nevadacycling.com.
Hi, my name's John Wilson. I've been riding bikes for about 15 years, and I've been riding professionally for about 8. We're up here at the annual Sky Tavern mountain bike race. It's hosted by the University of Nevada Cycling Team. So we're doing some trail riding up here, and we're going to talk to you about some places to ride and hopefully show you how to ride some of the trails up here. Tahoe is a great place for trail riding. You got tons of downhill stuff. You got tons of cross-country stuff. North Star at Tahoe has a lift for downhill lift access. So Tahoe is an excellent place to ride. There's a lot of terrain and great people around here. There's a group called DH Reno. They do a lot of downhill stuff in the area. Great people to hook up with, and you can find a lot of information on the web too with other organizations that ride in the area. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my bike. I ride for Dirtworks, Manitou, Shimano, and Syncros. So that's why you can see that I'm riding those components on here. This is a downhill bike. This is a Manitou Travis on the front. It gets about 7 inches of travel. The back I have a Romic shock. That one as well gets about 7 inches of travel with the linkage. I run the Shimano components, derailleur, Saint cranks, the Saint brakes, and then some of my other parts are Syncros, like bars and wheels and whatnot. So downhill bikes are a little bit heavier. They're designed to take a little bit more abuse, so they have to be a little bit heavier. They range anywhere from a light race bike from 37 pounds up to 45 pounds for a heavier downhill bike. So they're not quite as nimble, but they definitely need the extra strength. So probably one of the most important things about riding downhill, even more important than the bike, is having the right safety equipment. Most downhillers nowadays have switched to full face helmets and even DOT approved motorcycle helmets, which is what this is. Some of the impacts can really cause some serious damage, so the motorcycle helmet's a really probably the best way to go. It's definitely what I ride. I won't even ride in a conventional mountain bike helmet anymore when I'm doing downhill stuff. So other than the helmet, another really good idea that most riders wear is a full body suit. It has a big back plate on it in case you go over the bars, land on rocks. It's good for scrapes and bruises, but it's also really good for protecting your spine. And it also has shoulder pads, elbow pads, and it has a kidney belt built into it. So it also has a solid protecting piece on the front of the unit too, so it protects your chest from any injuries. And in addition to those two, you also almost always wear some type of knee pad. I just have a knee pad on right now. A lot of times you'll have the shin guard as well, which is another real important safety piece that you can have. Gloves too, obviously. Most people always wear gloves to protect your hands from falls, and a lot of times when you fall in this equipment, you just hop back up and get on the bike and you're ready to rock again, where if you're not wearing it, you might be a little too scraped up for a week to ride. So it's always a good idea to wear the proper safety equipment.
My name is Dustin Sweet, here at Sky Tavern for the UNR race. This is an annual race. It's been going on for about 10 years. I think I've probably raced it about 9 times. I've been racing semi-pro cross-country for about 10 years, and this is my first year racing downhill. That's the course here is great today. It's about a little less than a 3-minute run, nice and loose, rocky. A little bit of trees at the bottom, wide open at the top. It's going to be a fun day.
The University of Nevada Reno cycling team has many sponsors we'd like to thank. First, we'd like to thank Cliff Young, MPN Engineering, Specialized, Richie, and Sierra Cyclesmith, and as well as Dan Brown with Bicycle Bananas.
We just wanted to say thanks to the Pine Nut Mountain Trails Association meeting and the Brewery Arts Center for supporting the show.
Yes, definitely.
And don't forget about the Pine Nut Mountain Trails Association meeting, first Thursday of every month, 7 p.m. at the Round Table Pizza on Topsy Lane.
Excellent. Our website is www.nv-trails.org.
Yes, and people can view episodes of the show via webcast at nvtrails.bactv.org.
Or if they want to email us, it's tv@nv-trails.org.
And people can email us their club info,
events
happening, right?
If there's some bands, local bands who want to submit music.
Yes, we always are looking for local bands for videos that we put together. And don't forget, land use issues. Perfect, people email us and we'll get them out.
Yeah.
So hopefully everybody enjoyed the mountain bike Sky Tavern race with
pretty
UNR.
Extreme. Yeah, pretty extreme fun stuff to see.
Yeah, and hopefully we had some good shock tech info.
I learned a lot. Yeah.
So cool stuff. You got a harsh ride, go see Bones at Bad Bones Motorcycles. So
yeah. Anyway. So thank you for watching Nevada Trails.
All right, we'll see you next time.